So Tim Hines, who's also known as the Marketing Starter, he's an author. He hosts a podcast, so I highly recommend his book. I will plug that for him so he doesn't have to, and listen to his podcast. It's great. But I had the opportunity to meet him probably 2 or 3 years ago now at a marketing conference, and just fell in love with some of his concepts. So if you have attended our sales and marketing conference, I think last year he was our keynote speaker there and talked about putting the human back into some of our sales and marketing efforts. And it's ironic that we're talking about AI when we talked about putting the human back into it. But AI is something that is definitely, on the horizon, and we're using it and seeing it more and more in pharmacy sales and marketing efforts. But you still have to put that human in it, So he's going to talk about how some of you guys have been incorporating it. We do talk about this in our sales and marketing day, which is a one-day course that we do in Houston, which is tied to our core training. So that's at the very basic level. Tim's going to take it to a little bit next level. So it won't be too much for you, though. So even if you haven't started incorporating AI into your practice, you're still going to learn some great things. This will be an interactive session, so I will probably suggest that you have the app open, or if you're on your computer, have it open, have EventMobi open there, because we're going to be asking you to put some things in the Q&A and the chat function. So that goes for those of you that are in person as well as virtual, because he's going to be asking you some questions. And then we're actually going to go on to ChatGPT and do some real life stuff, and you can see how it works. So without further ado, my friend, Mr. Hines, you want to come up and join me?
Here I am.
There you are.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
The clicker is right there.
Okay. It's good to see everybody again. As Aaron mentioned, I had the pleasure of speaking at the Sales Marketing Symposium last year, which was a lot of fun, talking about human communications, and now we get to dive a little bit deeper into this AI topic. So it's really cool to be with you guys, and hopefully you still have some energy for me. I know I'm the last speaker before happy hour, and it's either this one, or it's the lunch one, or it's the first one of the day. Actually, they're all tough. Let's be real. You can give it up for all the other speakers you've seen today too. Give them a round of applause. I've been in a few sessions. They were awesome. So as Aaron mentioned, my name's Tim Hines, and I am a marketing consultant, AKA the Marketing Starter. My personal belief is that, whoa, that's bright. Wow. My personal belief is I love to shine. There we go, it's working. My personal belief is I love to bring an entrepreneurial mindset into everything I do in marketing, and I had the pleasure of talking to a few people at the conference so far who are doing very much that in their marketing, right? A lot of the businesses that you guys work for, you have to be really scrappy, right? You have to figure things out kind of from the ground up, and I love hearing those kind of stories. And AI happens to be one of those things that, as Aaron said, is kind of on the horizon, but is actually much closer even than we think. People are already using it. We're going to dig into some examples and things there, and actually do some real world examples of it too here in a minute. But I'm hoping to unpack and share some interesting tidbits that we can walk away from here on the show. So, oh yeah, the first one was the PCCA one. This is my cool big letters, using AI in compounding pharmacy marketing. And again, it is keeping things human in the age of the robots. So what's on tap for today? Number one, we're going to do that deep dive into AI marketing, right? I'm sure many of you guys already know and understand the concept of how AI is helping us in a lot of different parts of our business realm, but specifically in marketing, take a little bit deeper dive there. We're going to cover some of my big considerations when you're looking at rolling out any sort of AI program into what you're doing in sales and marketing. And then we're going to do this little collaborative intelligence workshop. We're going to go through some examples, some prompts at the end here. But mostly I want you guys to get excited and stay excited about what's happening here, what PCCA is doing for you guys, and the future that we have in marketing and as marketers and salespeople, and what we can do with cool technology like this. So to kind of start it off here, I'd like to know, or at least get you guys thinking a little bit about, what are you afraid of when it comes to AI? Maybe it's this, right? Maybe it's the scene from Terminator with the robots coming from the future and they're going to kill us all. Or maybe you're worried about AI taking your job. Maybe you're worried about it hindering or creating problems in your marketing. I don't know. There could be a lot of different things that I think marketers are worried about right now. And I want you to kind of think about that and keep that in your head as we go through this presentation, because what I'm trying to do is help dispel some of that fear for you as well. I want you guys to look at it as a tool, as something that is part of your kit that you can use really as an accelerant of sorts that's going to make your marketing and your sales job much, much easier. So I read an interesting stat recently from Gartner, and they said that by 2025, almost 30% or a little over 30% of data analytics jobs related to marketing will be eliminated by AI. And I read that, and then I read another article, and I read another article saying AI is coming for your jobs. This is all of these things are happening, and I'm sitting here saying, well, that's really interesting, because I feel like that's not the first rodeo that I've heard about of things coming for our jobs. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute as well, but I just don't want you guys to freak out. So if you have any fears, that fear that I asked you to think about, don't freak out about that fear. Remember that it's there, but always consider the fact that when a new technological advancement comes, it actually creates more opportunity. So it's all about how you look at it, right? Are you looking at it as a killer or a marketing enhancer? Are you looking at it as a curiosity, or are you looking at it with contempt? I personally like to look at it through that curiosity lens, because there's a lot of things that we can do with this that's going to just make our jobs so much more efficient. And then ultimately, how can we be better marketers and better salespeople because of it? And how will that ultimately help our business be better and help our patients and our customers, right? Because that's what we're here to do at the end of the day, is to serve them. We'll always keep that at our North Star. So really, what does AI mean for us as marketing and salespeople? It means speed. At the end of the day, it's all about efficiency and speed. It's going to help us do our jobs faster. And going back to that point I said a minute ago about thinking about technology that has freaked people out in the past. I mean, I'm 40, but I remember when I got my first Hotmail email address, when Gmail came out, and everyone's like, oh my God, email, that's going to kill direct mail. That's going to kill people writing letters. Did it? Maybe it changed it. Maybe it slowed it down, but I send a handwritten letter or two, and in fact, now because email's so prevalent, if you send a handwritten note or letter to a customer, it's probably much more impactful, right? But boy, the post office is busier than ever. There's still UPS, there's still FedEx, and in fact, because of technology, Amazon, they might even be busier than they were before when grandma was writing her handwritten notes and sending you a check for $5 for your birthday, right? So things evolve and things change over time. And when I think about that example, I think about other ones like even social media. When that hit the marketing shelves, everyone got really excited, but then also got worried. How am I going to get my communications out? What am I going to do? People are just having conversations with each other. How do I control that? Well, all of a sudden, we've evolved and adapted to that, and that created new opportunities. Now we have social media managers and people that are responsible for that. Or how about marketing automation? The million tools that are out there have radically changed the way that we do marketing, and they're very helpful, and I even heard about people talking about some of them just in the session right before this, which is really cool. But they're complicated and difficult, and that creates a whole new suite of opportunities for people to now be marketing automation specialists. So we're in this evolve or die kind of time, and the way I look at Red Bull really, I didn't leave this here on accident. I look at AI as kind of like a Red Bull to your marketing, right? It's that energy drink. It's that thing that's going to get you hyped up. It's going to make you move faster and ultimately give you wings. And I promise Red Bull is not sponsoring this. If you guys know anyone from Red Bull and they want to sponsor me, shoot me a note. So because it's fast, we got to think about, oh, sorry, I'm tabbing too far. Oh, it's still going too far. How do I go backwards? Oh no, there's no backwards on, oh, here we go. I got it, there it is. Ha, Okay, AI equals speed. So I mentioned the MarTech landscape before. So marketing technology, full of solutions. This is what the marketing technology landscape looked like circa 2010, 2011, right? There were about 200, 250 solutions out there. And now, today, you're looking at well over 8,000, and this was in 2020, so this is almost 3 years ago since this map's been updated. So you can see how much that has changed just in that short amount of time. And AI is actually going in that same direction. This is what the AI landscape looks like today. There's roughly around a couple hundred, 200 or 300 completely native AI tools, others that are now AI enabled, like HubSpot, Dialpad, things like that have AI built into them. Everyone's building it into their platforms and tools now. But could you imagine how much this has changed just this year, and then what it will look like in 10 years, right? That's super, well, to me, it's super overwhelming, right? Just thinking about all these possible things that I can use as a marketer. I can use ChatGPT, I can use this, I can use that, and there's a million things that I can get my hands on that could potentially help me, which is really, really cool, but that could also lead to some potential pitfalls. When you're running so fast, sometimes you'll run straight into the wall. I almost think of it like Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner, right? He's always trying to chase that Roadrunner, and something always happens where he messes up and nearly kills himself or blows himself up in some way. And if you're not cautious, if you're not taking heed in the way that you're chasing some of these tools, this can happen to you too. And so my word of caution to you is, just because there's this many tools, it doesn't mean you need to go use all of these tools. You may be a marketing team of 1, 2, 5, 10, 50. You have to think about what bandwidth you have to be able to go out and learn how something can help you, the way of prompting it and getting it to work for you and integrating it into your marketing programs. So I would say be wary, be selectful, and don't run too fast after that shiny object that is AI. Now, AI does have a big flex though, right? It is doing a lot of really, really cool things for us. And as Aaron said, PCCA has already been going through some of this stuff with you guys, sharing some of these great details. Kim Sparis, she did a whole session on this. She talked about how it can help you create presentations. You can use it to create beautiful artwork, and obviously writing blogs, writing content. That's obviously what most people are using ChatGPT for. But I want to go a little bit layer deeper here into this AI flex and talk more about some of these unique things that I think that AI can deliver for you guys today. But again, as I go through these, remember that caution, just because it's in this list I'm about to go through, doesn't mean you need to do it. You need to figure out the ones that'll work best for you. So first one here is customer segmentation, which is something that I think as marketers, we need to be really keen on, because that customer segment is always going to be evolving and changing, especially as our industry here and in compounding pharmacy changes, the needs of the customer is changing, so that segment is going to change around them. You can use AI for research to help around that. Personalization, this actually ties directly into that human aspect of it. If we can be more human in the way that we are messaging and reaching our potential customer and our patients, they're going to be more responsive and more apt to using our brand instead of using someone down the street. And AI can definitely help you be more personal. You can use it for predictive analytics. This is great if you're an analytics nerd. I'm not. I like to get some of that reporting as much as I possibly can and get my hands on it. But AI can quickly analyze data and be able to put it into predictive models around things like consumer trends or potential revenue. A lot of different things you can use it for there. Content creation, obviously, and we're going to go into that in a little bit. Virtual assistants. I bet quite a few of you, both online and here in the room, have already run into AI virtual assistants. We've had chatbots. I bet that's different. Now we've got these AI-driven virtual assistants that are actually taking care of our whole problem right on a website. That's pretty wild that you can actually do that kind of thing. So that's super helpful. You can even have a virtual assistant work for you and make phone calls for you, take notes, and then deliver that information back. It's really crazy what that can do. A/B testing, I think, is a really good one. This is something that's been a very manual process for marketers so far. We've had to build 2 email templates, two different subject lines, and get the email out, analyze which sample won, and then eventually send that email. Well, now AI can do that entire process for you. It'll even come up with the content that could go in there that's going to be tested. So cool. Lead scoring, this is another really important one. I've seen this a lot in B2B, and maybe you guys use this here in consumer for pharmacy, but keeping track of and understanding how hot a potential lead is through your CRM, AI can do that and bring those people to the top and know when and how to market to them. Email optimization, anything optimization here, there's a few of them, but anything optimization-wise where it has copy or content in it, AI is going to help take a look at that and understand what is going to score the best. Same thing with SEO analysis for your website, social media management. Not only will it create great content for you to post, but it'll tell you when, how, where, what channel, to what group. All of those things can all go into your plan and, again, help you speed up that process on social media. Same thing with ad campaigns. Where should that ad campaign be run? What should that audience look like? Maybe an idea of the creative. All of that stuff can be run through AI. Market research, this one I think is my favorite because market research takes a long time and it can be actually very costly, but if you're just trying to get a simple question answered, you can go in and you can prompt even ChatGPT to turn you back some of this market research that you need. Fraud detection is another one. I was actually just traveling abroad last week, and I feel like every time I travel abroad and book an Uber or try to use my card on anything, I get that Chase fraud detection. You get a text, you get an alert, they call you, they send you an email, all of those things. But one of the things that they're now setting up is the ability for that to run through AI to understand your behaviors and be more predictable in knowing that you're going to be in a certain place at a certain time. So fraud detection is a big one as well, and I could definitely see that working across the board for communications with you guys, especially, say, I saw an example earlier session here where you can actually just order your prescriptions right through a text message. Well, how would it, if I had your phone, I could technically order the prescription, right? It doesn't know that it's you, but you could put an AI layer on that to do a job to better figure out if there's fraud or not. And then obviously design, creating beautiful artwork, presentations, works of art, all of that stuff can all be done with AI, which is really, really cool. So it's a big flex that AI can do. And again, just because there's a million things like this that it can do doesn't mean that you got to do them all. But what I am curious about is how are you guys using AI today? And in your Q&A, I would love for you guys to take out your phones right now and tell me how you guys are currently using AI, if you are. Or if you're not, tell me why you're too scared to or why you're not. Would love to hear that too. But both for the audience here and the audience online, would love to hear that. Aaron's going to relay some of those as they're coming in. But I think it'd be really interesting to see from the crowd how you guys are using it, because there was a bunch of things there, a bunch of different use cases. Each business is different. Each use case is different. So it'd be really cool to hear from you guys how you are using AI. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a drink of water.
So we have a couple coming in. Content creation, preparing for meetings with doctors, not using it at all. I'm concerned about loss of value or intellectual property. We aren't. Would like to know what are some of the best apps out there. Okay, so that's more of another question. Presentation design. Composing emails, blog posts, SOPs, Firefly, creative ideas, blogs, letters, not using it yet, but look forward to starting. Ad campaigns, virtual assistant, newsletters. Some good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of good examples. I hear
Fabulous, realistic headshots.
Oh, yes.
Try it on AI. We talked about that last night.
Yeah, we were at dinner last night and we were looking at some hilarious headshot examples of where it just didn't quite get it right. Pieces of body parts were missing.
Yes.
Hues were off. It was very funny. But that's cool to hear. A lot of what I'm hearing is mostly content related. The SOPs, that's a good one. I know a lot of people are even using them for like RFPs and other things. But that's cool to hear. It sounds like it's mostly kind of within the content realm. Is that?
Yeah, and then from our virtual audience, not using it, excited to learn where I should start in best way, and then blog posts.
Blog posts, okay, yeah. So lots of content, email, blog posts, and that's kind of some of the stuff we're going to do today. And so, if you are taking that first step, again, PCCA has a bunch of great resources and a great list of apps that you can start to use if you want to start implementing that stuff today. So, but we'll go through a few other things as well. So whether you are or not using it, you have to make that call. And I heard a lot of not using it yet. And maybe some of the reasons why will fall in here. So making that choice, whether it's just too much to grapple with or I'm worried about security or whatever, we all have to kind of make that call. And so hopefully the idea, right, is that it's going to make our jobs easier no matter how we decide to roll it out. But just because we have it doesn't mean that we necessarily need to use it. So I put together this pros and cons list of why or why not to use AI for you guys. And maybe for those that are or not, you guys have maybe considered some of this. And for those of you that haven't, this might help you guys out. So number one, for a pro, is it's going to reduce that cognitive load and increase your efficiency. So let's pretend you're me. And you just got back on Tuesday night from traveling abroad. It took you 20 hours to get home. You're really exhausted, and oh my gosh, you need to write a blog post that you forgot about, and it needs to go up the next day. And you have an outline started, or you have at least an idea started, and you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, I have no bandwidth within my brain. I'm exhausted, I'm jet lagged. How am I supposed to do this right now? That's where AI can come in and help you out. You can use it based on the idea that you had for your blog post, type in a prompt into ChatGPT, it'll actually spit you out a blog post that can get you started. It can give you that bouncing off point and hopefully save you some time and some angst and some stress. So it definitely does help us reduce that cognitive load and increase our efficiency by shortening the amount of time that it takes us to maybe get one of those pieces done and out the door. Secondly, it's a source of inspiration and new ideas. How often do you think we come up with a completely novel idea? Probably not very often anymore, right? I've heard speakers and other people say, like, there's no such thing as a new idea anymore in today's day and age. We just kind of recycle and iterate on old ideas to make them new. Well, just like if you were to go to Pinterest to look up beautiful kitchens for your kitchen remodel, you can do the exact same thing with the various AI tools to get the inspiration you need to create a piece of content or do one of the litany of other things that I went over for inspiration and for a new idea. So it is amazing for that. So definitely utilize it for that as much as you possibly can, because maybe we're not all the most creative marketers in the bunch. Even if it comes to a piece of art or a presentation, I heard presentation as one of the examples. You can go in there and go, man, I can't even think of what a new presentation template would look like for my pharmacy. You can go in, get one made, and go, that's a great start, and maybe I'll iterate on it, put our brand polish on it, make it a little sharper. So source of inspiration, this is one that I use a lot. Boosted productivity. That one is totally AI. It's just gonna make you more productive across the board. Whether you did need to, or whether you are exhausted and you're trying to create this new blog post, or you're stuck because you can't creatively think of a new presentation design, this will help make that process go a little bit faster, and you'll be able to get things done quicker. It's going to overall speed up that marketing process, dovetails right into that boosted productivity, but pretty much everything that you're doing in marketing, whether it's checking for security stuff, if you're leveraging a bunch of those other examples I was talking about, this is going to make it go faster for you across the board. So if you're not using AI today, I would say, like, hey, look at these pros. These are great things that you can look at and know that your time is valuable, especially when it comes to speed and efficiency. So if you're able to use any of this stuff to help move that along a little better, you're going to be in good shape. It'll also help you increase your accuracy, because it's going out and it's doing its search across the web, across all the information that's available to us. it's going to be able to pull in something maybe much quicker than you would be able to do by doing that research, and also be very accurate and to the point. This one, the use of hyper-personalization, this is one that I think is great for marketers. As I mentioned before, that personalization element is the thing that's going to really help set you apart and set your marketing efforts apart and keep customers attracted. So if you're able to use AI to help you hyper-personalize a message and really understand who your customer is, you're going to win. So definitely utilizing it for that is huge. And then lastly, it's just big cost savings. Some of these things are a few bucks a month, a couple $100 a year. Some of them are free. So again, signing up for the ones that make sense for you, but you can get some of these things in lieu of going out and hiring a consultant or doing X, Y, Z, when you can easily do it yourself or with the small team that you have using AI. So that's a good list of pros. Now, the fun part is the cons that's going to roll into my big considerations here. So number one, ethical concerns and plagiarism. Is it ethical of you to copy a complete ChatGPT blog post into your blog and just put your name on it and say it's your own? Is it ethical for you if you're looking for a new gig to have ChatGPT write you a resume and be like, oh yeah, here's all my experience in this exact way, and then you show up and then they're like, hey, can you write this for me? And you're only using that? Is that ethical? I guess that's up to you to ultimately decide, but you kind of are just copying and pasting work from a robot that is based off of work from other people at the end of the day. So this still hasn't been quite shaken out yet. I think the jury's still out on how this part impacts us, but whether or not all ideas are being recycled and reused, you are actually just grabbing something from another source and saying it's your own in a way. So something to consider. Compliance with healthcare regulations. This one impacts you guys a lot, right? You can't just take your entire data set, throw it into the ChatGPT and say, hey, please analyze all my customer data for me. That's probably not a good idea. You're using a third-party tool that's not behind your company firewall, that's an open source thing. I mean, we watched just a few weeks ago, it was a 23andMe got completely hacked and everyone's personal data and DNA information ended up on the dark web. Obviously, you wouldn't want to have that same kind of thing happen on your watch by sharing data and important customer information in some sort of tool. Not saying any of those would ever get hacked, but you never know. So you have to be cautious with that and make sure you're adhering to those regulations. I mean, HIPAA compliance, right? You can't share personal information of your customers, your patients, anywhere outside of where it's supposed to be stored. And because this is so novel and so new, that the regulations actually haven't caught up yet. So you might be doing something that isn't necessarily covered in the moment, but later down the road, they might catch up with that and you might have dirt on your hands. So you gotta be really careful with that. There's also a lot of bias and misinformation that you can run into. Not trying to make this talk a political talk at all, but depending on the questions that you ask and who's asking, you'll get different answers that may sway one way or another. So you got to be cautious with some of that stuff. Ultimately, these programs, they're not an intelligence like our intelligence, right? They're built with an algorithm by people who naturally have a bias in a direction, and it may not be something political, but maybe something else at the end of the day. So you have to be cautious with that as well. The data privacy issue, that's a big one. Even if you integrate these tools into what you're doing in your current marketing, you still have to err on the side of caution and make sure that your data is actually secure, working with your IT department to understand the ways that you should and shouldn't be using these tools to help you analyze stuff. Then there's ownership and attribution. So kind of tying in with the ethical concerns a little bit, who ultimately owns this written piece, this piece of artwork at the end of the day? Gosh, I remember it was, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Instagram said that anything you post on our site now is ours. That's our piece of artwork, right? So who's to say that anything generated from these sources don't do the same? They could change those terms and conditions at any time, so you have to keep an eye out for that stuff. This one, this over-reliance, this is the one that I think I'm worried most about as far as the cons. Using AI as a crutch, overusing it almost stifling your own creativity because you decide to use it instead of taking that step and maybe getting off the couch and writing your own blog post for a change, right? There's so many great tools that are out there that we're going to be working with, but that over-reliance will ultimately lead us to all making and creating the same thing and sounding the same. So you can't become too reliant on it where you forget how to write an email to a customer. You forget how to send an email to a partner. You forget how to make a phone call without having it scripted for you. Don't let it take the humanity out of you. That's super important. So don't let it be don't be over-reliant on it. And then the reliability of it specifically. We were just joking about the pictures, the headshot pictures a minute ago, and how someone was missing an earring, someone's hair color was wrong, like their shirt was on backwards. Like it's not perfect. So just because it's delivering you something that looks really awesome, you have to give it that additional wash, that additional view to make sure that it's actually what you want it to be, because it's not 100% reliable. And ultimately, at the end of the day, your customers, they don't want this, right? They don't want to feel like they're dealing with your robots. They want to feel like they're dealing with your humans. So it leaves a big gap, I think, in that perception that maybe a customer has versus maybe what you want to deliver. And that opportunity is that human bridge. Let's be real. If I went onto a compounding pharmacy website, and I went into a chat and I started having a chat, today, Tim, I'm going to assume that they have an AI bot there. I'm going to assume that that's AI until I type agent 100 times until I get to a real person. But could you imagine if you decided, you know what, that AI bot thing is pretty cool. We're going to keep it old school. We're going to keep our customer service humans on that chat. And when that customer finds out that it's been a real human the whole time, they're actually surprised and delighted. Because today, I'm going to assume it's a robot. Like, is anything even real anymore? Like, I'm looking at all this stuff, and I'm just like, nothing's real. Are you guys real? I think you're real. Virtual audience, are you guys real? Okay, maybe. They probably don't think I'm real. Maybe they're like, this is an AI guy on stage. I'm really here, I promise. So surprising and delighting them with as much human experience as you possibly can, that's the gap that we get to fill. So don't leave them high and dry just dealing with your robots. But because everyone else is, it leaves a great opportunity for you to kind of stand apart. So they don't want that. So my big considerations, number one is brand and tone. If everyone's typing the same prompt in to ChatGPT to write a blog post on the newest compound that just came out, everybody in this room put in the same prompt, you'll get different answers. They'll look slightly different, but they'll all kind of sound the same, and they'll all be roughly the same. Would you just take that then, drop it in your blog, and say, done? I bet you wouldn't, right? Because we're good marketers here. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to read it. We're going to actually add our brand and our tone and put it in our voice. We're going to make some tweaks to it. We're going to utilize AI, like I talked about before, as that source of inspiration, but not the end-all, be-all product. So brand and tone is a very specific thing that is super, super important to this that I think we can get lost on when we do become over-reliant on AI. We don't want to just copy, paste, and drop everything that it says, because if we do that, we're going to be lost. So we don't want to lose our brand identity in the way that we're using artificial intelligence. The second piece here is the confidentiality and privacy, and that was a big part in the concerns section as well. Keeping things private, confidential, you have to think through the exact way that you will be implementing that. And actually, there are a lot of great tools that AI offers that help with that too. So whether that's utilizing your data encryption on your marketing efforts, whether that's stringent access controls to the AI tools and make sure only certain people have the ability to access that. Those regulatory frameworks, again, as the regulation kind of gets caught up, once those are kind of set and in place, we can actually take those, and AI can then go out and check our marketing efforts, the things that we're writing, the things that we're saying, or how we're using different tools, and let us know if we actually are in compliance. So it's kind of the opposite side too. It actually tells us the best practices to keep us in compliance. So there's a lot of different things there that I think we have to consider and how we operate, especially within the healthcare space that we're part of here. And then lastly, it's the differentiation, right? How is my pharmacy different from your pharmacy, different from your pharmacy, different from your pharmacy? In theory, we all have access to the same solutions to make the same compounds. Maybe we're in the same market, we're in the same city. What is that thing that sets us apart, right? And you guys as marketers should know that. You should have that in your head at all times to understand, hey, this is what makes our pharmacy special. You don't want that specialness to get lost in the way that you're using AI to build your marketing around it, which is that copy and pasting, that brand and tone just dissolving into nothing. Your differentiation has to be maintained in the way that you speak, in the way that you utilize these tools to generate these things for you. Again, they're not the end-all be-all. They're the piece of the puzzle that's going to help you ultimately increase your speed and increase your efficiency. The way we want to work with AI is this term of collaborative intelligence. So actually, you know what? We should just throw away the term AI. We should get rid of it. Instead, we should be calling it CI, collaborative intelligence, which is humans helping the machines helping humans, and around and around and around we go. This is the way that it actually works. The way that it works is humans built these machines, this artificial intelligence, with algorithms, with information, with the ability to go out and find new things and piece all of this together. It's all that information is based off of previous things that you and I and everybody else has already written and put on the internet in different ways. And it grabs all those things that were created by humans, puts it together into something for a human that then uses it, and around it goes. So collaborative intelligence is really the way that we want to look at how that AI-human relationship actually works. So collaborative intelligence is the humans helping the machines, and that is with training, right? We have to train the tool to do it the way we want, and sometimes you do that by, an example of ChatGPT, asking it the same question multiple times until you get the answer that it wants, or the answer that you want, and then it kind of remembers it. Explaining, being very, very clear and methodical on the prompts that you want to ask. You wouldn't just say, ChatGPT, write me a presentation outline. And then it just gives you a presentation outline. You want to write me a presentation outline about XYZ on ABC to an audience of, you have to know what questions to ask and clearly explain it. And then also, we have to sustain it, right? If we all disappeared today, it would also disappear. It wouldn't work anymore. So it's our job to help train it, sustain it, keep it alive. On the other side, the machines are helping us by amplifying, giving us more ability to go further in our message and do more with what we do in our marketing. It helps us to also interact in different ways. It helps us to create more of an open space where we can have our humans interacting, we can have our AI interacting, and trying to create this symbiote of a similar experience. And then lastly, embodying. And this is one thing that it's not quite there yet but it will be there soon, and that is being able to really be a human in that moment and figuring out how to, the best that it can, empathize, just like how a human empathizes. And that is actually a piece of this that I wanted to talk about real quick, which is that the equity quotient, EQ, is greater than the intelligence quotient, IQ. And that's something that I believe, and why I don't think it will ever fully replace our jobs or make marketing fully automated through AI, is because it will never know what it's like to be a human. It won't have that emotional intelligence that we possess. That has to be finished and driven by us, by what it can deliver to us. We have to put that human polish on everything that we do, because humans will be able to smell out if it's something from a robot. I don't need to read that blog post that you put in to ChatGPT and copy and paste it. I could have prompted it and gotten it myself. So it's our jobs to maintain that emotional piece of this, the piece that we can actually relate to other humans and understand where they're coming from. And I think that's especially important in your industry, because you're helping humans at the end of the day, right? This isn't something that's more robotic, that you're trying to make people feel better. So you don't want to then utilize a tool that's going to divulge yourself away from that human experience. So collaborative intelligence, that's our future. That's the way to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into some prompting practice, and we're going to see what ChatGPT can churn out for us. We're ready to try that? Now, I think what I got to do here is I got to tab over and exit out and move over to a web browser. So bear with me. Let's see if I can make this happen. I was trained on this prior. Let's see if I can actually make it happen. Boom. Okay, no, it didn't do it. Let me go back. Oh, I think I need to exit. That's what I need to do. We go here, escape. No, it's still there. Hold on, let me try this one. No, what? Maybe I'm missing the mark on this. Hold on.
We're getting some help.
There we go.
Oh.
Okay. Tab over here. Cool.
Okay.
All right. We are in ChatGPT. So we're going to write a couple things, and we're going to see what this thing is able to churn out. Just quick raise of hands. How many people have used ChatGPT so far to create stuff? Okay, cool. A lot of people. So all the no's that people said they weren't using it yet, I'm assuming it's probably you guys, because most of you guys sounded like you were using it for content. So let's do this one. Okay, I'm in the spot. We're going to write a thank you card to a doctor from our compounding team. Let's see here. So ChatGPT, I'm going to write, if I can do this, write a thank you card to a doctor. Oops, see, this is like being able to type. Like, see, this is humans helping the machines. I'm not doing a good job of helping this machine. Let's go backwards here. To a doctor from a compounding pharmacy team. Okay, let's see what it says. Oh my gosh, look at this. What a note. What a note indeed. Now, the first thing that I would look at with this is I would say, okay, are your notes normally this long?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. But when I read this, the important part is to understand is see if it sounds like you. Like, who is this coming from? Is this going to be your voice? So it says, thank you for your dedication and expertise. I love that. At the front of the card, inside the card. Dear Dr. So-and-so, we hope this card finds you well. We want to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude for your collaboration with our compounding pharmacy team. Your dedication to patient care and your unwavering commitment to excellence have not gone unnoticed. Your willingness to work closely with us in developing tailored medications for your patients has not only enriched the quality of care they receive, but has also strengthened the bond between healthcare professionals like yourself and compounding pharmacists. Your trust in our expertise means a great deal to us, and we would be honored to be part of the healthcare journey alongside someone of your caliber. The collaborative efforts between our compounding, it's going a little long, in my opinion, right? Like if I got this, I'd be like, how many times are you going to say compounding pharmacy? How many times are you going to say collaborative all in one sentence? So, cool example. I bet if I type this in again later, it might give me a slightly different version of this. Probably just as long, I would guess. But you're going to need to go in, and you're going to need to make a change to this to make it fit your voice and fit the situation. Let's try another thing here. Let's go to the send a message bar. Okay, now we're gonna have a create a presentation. So create a presentation, explaining how to market a compounding pharmacy to patients. Gotta have patience while doing this. Patients and practitioners. Can't spell, Tim. Let's try it again. Practitioners. Nope, still didn't get it right. Sorry, guys. This keyboard is like very small. Practitioners. Nope. Oh my gosh. Practitioners. Do I got it?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Finally. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see what it comes up with here. Hit the down button. There it is. Okay, let's take a look. So this looks like a 14, 15 slide presentation. And by the way, when you're using ChatGPT, it's going to give you copy, right? You can use other tools like Beautiful.ai. That one actually creates the slides for you. And there's like a million others already that are happening. So it gives us the title, Unlocking Personalized Healthcare, the Power of Compound Pharmacies. It's a brief introduction to compounding pharmacies and their role in providing customized medications. Cool, so I've got the title, I've got the subtitle, and then it goes into all of the slides, all of the different things, putting patients first, collaborative partnerships. Oh, that one's perfect. You should just take that letter that we wrote and drop that one in slide 4. Title, one size doesn't fit all, empowering healthcare providers. So look at this. This is cool, right? This is giving us a title, and it's giving us two bullet points. Don't just take this and drop this into a white Google Slides or a white PowerPoint and expect this, again, to be your end all. This isn't enough. This is a great starting point. This is a great inspiration point for you to then go, oh yeah, I didn't think about maybe we should have a quality slide. I didn't think about that. Or I didn't think about that, oh, that's a good bullet point to say showcase positive patient experiences and testimonials. Didn't think about that. Cool. And then if you were to use that slide 8, with the positive patient experience and testimonials, boy, you should probably go and like maybe take screen grabs or grab quotes of those patients and then drop them in the presentation, right? It's not going to do everything for you, and nor should it, because especially when you're using it in this way, this is a way, going back to my over-reliance point, we can't become over-reliant. I can become over-reliant on it like to create me an outline maybe, and that's okay, but I still have to be creative and think through the actual content that's going to go in here. So this is a great outline. You could copy, paste that. You could start building your deck around it. It's certainly, oh, it even has a Q&A. That's cool. Let's connect. Open the floor for questions. Do you guys have any questions? No? Okay, cool. Provide contact information. This is really cool. So it has a great start in pretty much everything that you need, but you have to take that foundation and expand upon it and build it a little bit further. Let's try another one. Let's try, here, this is a good one. Create an elevator pitch selling compounded, oh God, hydroquinoline. Hydro, let's okay, Q-U-I-N-O-N-E. Say it real quick. Oh, of course, I knew that's what it was. Yep. Creams for dermatologists. Okay. Didn't spell that right either. Oh man, the cursor killing me here. That's why I built in a good 10 minutes to do this, because I knew that just typing alone. Dermatologists. Guys, I'm in marketing. I don't know your words. I'm learning them though. This is great. Okay. Let's see what it says here. Create an elevator pitch. Oh, this is cool. So, you know what's interesting? When it says create an elevator pitch, I wonder how it knows what an elevator pitch is. right? Elevator pitch is typically reserved for like startups, tech guys. You jump in an elevator with an investor. You got till the elevator door opens and that investor gets off on their floor to be able to spit out what it said. And usually the rule is it's around 60 seconds. So I'm curious if it has 60 seconds of copy here, but this is cool. So hello, dermatologist. Are you seeking a powerful ally in addressing hyperpigmentation for your patients? Our compound hydroquinone creams are key to unlocking customized skincare solutions. With precision and expertise, we tailor formulations to meet the unique needs of each patient, ensuring optimal results. Our commitment to quality and effectiveness means you can trust us to be your partner in delivering personalized care. Elevate your practice with our compound hydroquinone creams because when it comes to skincare, one size does not fit all. Let's redefine radiance together. Ooh, it even threw in a tagline, redefining radiance together. That's pretty cool. What do you guys think of that? Is that kind of neat? I feel like that's a decent elevator pitch. It's a decent thing you can get done in 60 seconds. You'd probably take this, use it in either in speak, you could use it in an email, whatever. There's a lot of different pieces you could pull out of this and almost use it as is, but again, you want to make sure it's tailored to you. If your tagline is not, let's redefine radiance together, you're going to want to delete that and put in something else that makes sense for your brand at the end of the day. So that's kind of cool. All right, well, we got time for one more. Let's try one more. Ooh, here we go. Create content for a quarterly newsletter for a compounding pharmacy. All right, we've got our newsletter coming out in November. Let's see what it says. Are your newsletters typically that long? Maybe, maybe not. It really likes to be very robust, which is good, because you can always take what comes out and then pare it back. So that's something to think about. Let's see what it came out with here. All right. We've got our subject line, Compound Pharmacy 9 Quarterly Digest, Fall Edition. Dear valued customer, in this issue, we've got the compound formulation, hormone replacement therapy, that's pretty cool. Practitioner spotlight, that's neat. Patient success stories, educational corner, compounding 101. Seasonal skincare tips, that's cool. Live events, pharmacy updates, what's new at your pharmacy. And promotions and discounts. Oh, I was hearing a lot about this one today too, talking about how you're promoting the different things, supplements, all that stuff you guys are working on. So that's really cool. So this is neat, right? So it's giving you, again, that framework, those pieces that you can jump off of to create something that aligns with your brand, aligns with your message, aligns with your voice. I do like how this is giving, again, inspiration. Maybe I've done a newsletter 100 times, but I never thought of doing a practitioner spotlight. So hey, that's cool that it suggested that. Let's try that. So again, new ideas. So this is very high level, very cool stuff that ChatGPT can get out for you guys. And again, content really is the kind of the star of the show right now on the AI front. This is what most people are using it for, and what I believe you guys will probably mostly use it for as well. So if you haven't done so already, you can create an account, even a personal account for yourself, and just play around with this. Just typing in prompts like this and trying different things to see what it comes up with, but it's great inspiration. So that's pretty fun. Let's see if I can tab back over to here. And I forgot the one that jumps right back to the last slide, but I'll go here. Boom. Cool. So in summary with this, again, I want to say that the most important thing to think about is really weighing those pros, those cons, and understanding that just because it exists and it's a shiny new object doesn't mean that we should be chasing after it. We should use caution. We should go out and look for the things that are going to be helpful for us in the department size and functionality that we have and what fits within our brand, and not just copying and pasting and dropping things and running with it. There is a lot that can go into this, or as little as you want. So using caution, but trying out things and exploring is the only way you're gonna really be able to figure out if it's best for you at the end of the day. So with that, I wanna say thank you so much. I actually brought a couple copies of my book, and we will take questions in a second while we're doing this. So if anyone wants to scan this QR code, I'll do a signed copy. But yeah, we'll open it up for questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. We do have a couple here. So any suggestions, and I can help you with this too, especially in our specialty market, the best apps or websites to incorporate AI into the pharmacy?
Yeah, well, so based on kind of the use cases that we were hearing, I think from the answers, right, and what we just did in this exercise, like I said, go get on ChatGPT right now, play around with it, have some fun on it, see if it'll work for you on maybe putting together your next blog post or whatever you need to do. So that's a really fun one. You could also play with some of these headshot ones. There's a million of them, just to kind of get used to seeing what this technology is like. And I really like Beautiful AI for creating presentations and pieces of art. And even Canva now has AI-generated content in it too. I've heard some people talking today about how they use Canva for some of their design stuff. So that's a pretty cool one too. Lightweight, easy to do.
Awesome. Some other ones that some of our members are using, Synthesia, which is creating video content. So it actually creates an avatar, and they can talk about your brand or some of the services that you offer. So that's really cool. And then another one for PowerPoint creations is presentations.ai.
Yep. So. Yeah, good one.
Okay. Let's see here. Do you find obvious, you talked a little bit about this, but do you find obvious bias or prejudice when using AI? Is it getting enough information from different groups of people, backgrounds, ideologies, stuff like that?
For marketing use case and for what we use it for, unless you have something that's sensitive towards those groups, ideologies and things, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. What we wrote here, what we read through 4 different examples there, I didn't see anything there that showed me any sort of prejudices, biases, anything like that. If this was a different room of political marketers, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe now. But for you guys' use case, I wouldn't be worried about it.
Okay, thank you. This one is kind of you have to weigh out the options, I think. There's a lot of junk on the World Wide Web. Mm-hmm. How can fact-checking AI's output be more efficient than creating content myself?
Well, so good question. So I would say, I guess it depends on what you're writing. If you're writing very specific, nuanced things about compounding, about your pharmacy, about some sort of hot button issue within the industry, then I would say, yeah, it may take the same amount of time to fact check it as it does to write it, but high level things like some of the examples that we run through, these are the ones that honestly sometimes take the most amount of time, right? Because you're like, okay, I've got to write this white paper, and it needs to be very detailed, and it's going to have a lot of interesting facts in it. That one, yeah, maybe take that one yourself. But you need to write the holiday card real quick, throw that into ChatGPT, and don't waste an hour doing it. So it's picking which ones to use it for. So I would say that you ultimately have to make that call, but it can help you at least maybe write some chunks of that piece that you're working on as well.
Yeah, we always say it's a lot easier to edit than author. So it gives you a great starting point.
Yep.
And then you take it from there, and like you said, put your tonality on it, put your brand on it. All of us have gone down to either sit and write something, and you just have that block.
Yep.
So it's a great starting point.
Exactly.
Let's see. Do we have to accept that any content we create and put online will be seen and used by AI, therefore other AI users? The intellectual property of our original content is just a moot point.
That's kind of what I was saying earlier, right? I was saying that there is no new idea. What you put on the web will be available for these tools to scrape, and will ultimately be that helping engine and that collaborative intelligence. The things that you create and you put out in the ether will ultimately feed that and then create that loop of content growth or whatever you want to call it, depending on the tool that you're using. That sounds very doom and gloom, though. That kind of made me sad.
I know.
I don't like that one.
I know. Yeah, we always, I mean, and especially if you have something that's very specific to your pharmacy, you know, for example, you're giving a presentation or you're writing an article or something on something that only you do at your pharmacy, it's a competitive advantage. We always say, don't use, you know, AI for that, because again, once something goes on AI, or on the World Wide Web, and then AI can grab any of that kind of stuff. So if you have confidential or very sensitive information, you may want to stay away from using some of this.
Yeah, and so that was literally two of the things that were in my considerations, right? It was confidentiality and privacy was that middle one, and then that one on the right was the differentiation.
Right.
So that's a perfect example.
Yeah, love that. Okay, we'll do one more here. I love using to have a virtual conversation with a doctor, like a urologist. Can you ask about most common diseases they treat, and it's a great way to learn how they operate. So that's more of a comment. But yeah, I mean, I think even in creating prompts for some of these things, like you did, you know, you talked about a specific product to a specific type of doctor. And so as much as you can be specific in those prompts, I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah, and that generalization would be the thing that, again, scares me too, is everyone's responses using these tools or the things that they create all sounding the same, and then us never getting the specific answer we need, which we know will frustrate the patient. So we have to be specific in our language.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will ask you this very last one here because it has a couple votes on it, which means it's important to a couple people. So how can you identify the best AI tools for specific tasks?
Well, you could go to ChatGPT and ask.
I love it.
Go super meta with it. Be like, ChatGPT, what is the best AI tool to help me with X, Y, Z?
Right.
There are a million listicles out there too. This is such an interesting topic to everybody in the marketing sphere right now. There's so many lists and so many great things. HubSpot has a list that I was looking at when doing some research here. But there are a million great lists that you can go to and find. A simple Google search will turn you up a ton of great answers too. So
I agree.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Thank you for being with us again.
Yeah, and I have a winner from the book scan, if I can announce who that is. So I've got Libby Cooley. She won a signed copy of my book. So Libby, I'm going to come over and I'll give you a signed copy. Thank you guys so much for having me. I hope you guys have a great final day tomorrow. And yeah, look forward to networking with you tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.